Hey guys, now that I'm a clinical student, 400 level to be precise, I can look back at how my preclinical years went. So in this video, I'm going to tell you how those years were really like and also what I wish someone had told me before I got started. Medical school is broken down into three stages. First part is pre-med, that's 100 level. Then second part is preclinicals, 200 to 300 level, and final part is the clinical stage where I am now, 400 to 600 level. So what are the preclinical years really like? The preclinical years, as I said, last between the second and third year, and the core of the preclinical years is understanding the basic medical sciences, that is anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry. So at this point, there is nothing like patient contact, no patient interaction. Everything you learn ends in the classroom. A week during my preclinical years was mostly lectures every day and then practicals here and there. So what made it challenging during the preclinical years was not about the concept itself, it was about the volume and the fact that there was a lot to cover, limited space or a limited time. Exams were probably the most intense period of the preclinical years. In medical school, our calendar is structured based on blocks. So after each blocks, we write tests or continuous assessment, which is like termed in course. And then at the end of the 200 level, we write a promotional exam. In my school, it's called the comprehensive examination. And then when you move to 300 level, you write the main exam of the preclinical years. That's your professional exam called MB1. So the exam is structured in three formats or three ways. So the first part is the true or false format. That format is like the most deadly format I've ever known to exist. But then we're medical students, what can we do? And then the second part is the theory part, which is like normal as expected. And then there's the practical session. Steeplechase. Steeplechase, I don't know who invented that form of exam, but then it's what we do. Now let's move to what I expected versus the reality that I experienced. So first of all, I knew preclinical years was going to be difficult, right? But I thought it was just going to be like an extension of what we did in biology and chemistry with probably a little more difficult, feel to it. But then it was a whole lot more. The volume of the things we had to study or know in the shortest amount of time was what made it very, very crazy. So I assumed that if I was consistent, attending lectures, being a good boy in school, that I'll be fine. But the reality was quite different. So it wasn't the content that was just difficult or too difficult. It was the speed at which things were moving, right? 1 minute we are doing one topic and I've never like fully understood the concept or grabbed what we are doing, and then we're moving to the next topic. And it was going on and on and on like that until the end of the previous years. So it was a lot. I also did not expect how mentally demanding it can be. Like there's always exam around the corner, the workload is much, lectures every day, even pressures from your classmates or course-mates. There was a lot of pressure and it was really, really mentally demanding. Another thing that surprised me was how much independent studying or independent learning is required. Medical school lectures cannot be enough. Like if you go to lectures, bro, you still have to go back to your reading table personally and like learn yourself. For me, 80% of what I know or what I knew back in preclinical years was based on independent reading. It was not based on what lecturers told me in class. So it's not a point I can overemphasize. It also took me a very, very long time to like figure out the study plans or study methods that worked for me. It took a lot of trial and errors, asking my friends here and there, what do you do to study? How do you read? Watching a lot of YouTube videos on how to commit things to memory. But at the end of the day, I found what worked for me and I'll be sharing that later on in the video. So if you are getting something from the video already, please kindly drop a like and also subscribe if you're yet to subscribe. So moving on to how did I adjust and like what really helped me. At some point during my second year, I found out that the problem was not actually the workload. It was the fact that I was trying to study the way I was studying before preclinical years. And there was a shift in what I was like the workload. So I have to like adjust my study pattern. And then I had to make a shift. One of the biggest changes I made to my study method was trying to explain things to myself in my own words or in my own concept. And that made a really big difference because before I made the change, I was always trying to read lecture slides word for word as the lecturer puts it there, trying to understand it in the lecturer's words. And I found out that it was time consuming and I was not even really getting the big picture. And then I switched to trying to explain things in my own words, trying to define things in my own terms, and it was a really, really, really big game changer. I also stopped trying to memorize every single detail. In the beginning, when I first resumed preclinical years, I was always trying to understand every single thing in the lecture slide, in the textbook, everything my lecturer said. I tried to like understand it, but then I had to stop that because there's a lot of information and you are not meant to know everything. You're just meant to know the basics and understand how everything works. So I tried to make sure I was just focusing on the important things and not trying to memorize everything perfect. Beyond academics, there was also some sort of mental adjustments. I said it before that the mental stuff workload is actually very demanding. So I try to adjust my mentality and tell myself that the fact that I'm feeling overwhelmed doesn't mean I can't do it or I'm incapable of succeeding in preclinical school. I try to tell myself that it's just a process. I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to understand because everything was new to me. But then I just told myself, I got this, and I try to move with the flow. I also had to be careful about comparing myself with my classmates because medical school has the like brightest of minds. Like everybody in medical school were once the top scholars in their secondary school, and if you are not careful, you would see yourself comparing yourself with person A, person B, and you will not be able to even focus on your own self. And what I found out is that even the people in my class that look like scholars, or I thought they were very, very intelligent or brainy, they also had their own struggles. They also had things they found difficult to understand. So it just came to me that let me just focus on myself and not try to compare myself because even people I'm comparing myself with, they also have what they are struggling with at the moment. And finally, I try to make sure I balance my life in a way because obviously school is very demanding. Medical school is even more demanding. So I tried to make sure I was getting enough sleep, eating well, even if that's not like I tried to make sure I was just trying to get a little of everything. I didn't try to center my life alone around the books or the academics. So looking back at it now as a clinical student, as a proud clinical student that I am, I figure out that those preclinical years were just like a period of like learning how to learning how to understand stuff, learning how to work under pressure, learning how to find myself and find out what works for me. And it actually all makes sense now. Now, here are the 5 biggest lessons I learned from my preclinical years. Number one, you don't need to know everything perfectly or completely. One of the biggest lessons I learned is that you don't need to know everything perfectly or completely at the beginning. The thing about medical school or medicine is that you learn on the job, you learn as you move or as you grow. So at the beginning, you don't need to know every single thing perfectly. Just make sure you're open minded and willing to learn. And with time, you would actually know everything and be a good doctor. Number two, consistency beats intensity. Most medical students or some medical students like me at the beginning were kind of lazy and we usually waited till 9 minutes or till exam period to kind of crash read and cram. But then with time during the preclinical years, I found out that consistency was the game changer. Like if you could be consistent every day, reading 1 hour, 2 hours daily, you would be way better than someone that just waited till the exam period and trying to cram everything in one night or 1 or 2 nights. Number three, struggling does not mean you are not meant for it. It doesn't mean you are incapable. It doesn't mean you are not meant to be where you are. What I found out is that everybody struggles. Even the richest man has his own struggles. So you going through a tough period in preclinicals or you are not understanding what is going on, or you feel lost, because obviously there's sometimes you feel lost in school, it doesn't mean you are not meant for it. It's just a period of finding yourself and understanding what's going on. So struggling doesn't equals that you're not meant to be where you are or you're not meant to be a medical student. Number four, comparison is a trap. Please and please don't fall for that trap of comparing yourself with your fellow classmates, because number one, it will make you feel so bad or it will make you feel less because you're comparing yourself with people you're not meant to compare yourself with. It's okay to compare, but you're only meant to compare yourself with yourself. Try to make sure you're becoming a better medical student instead of focusing on comparing with other people, because as I said earlier, medical school is full of a lot of brains, a lot of very, very good people when it comes to academics. But then the game is always you versus you. So don't compare yourself with anyone, compare yourself with yourself. So number five and the final one, Preclinical years are temporary, but they are very, very important because the discipline, the resilience you gain during the preclinical years is all to keep you going in the clinical years. And even the knowledge you get, the anatomy you're studying now, the biochemistry, the physiology, everything would meet you at the front. Like you will meet everything in clinical years. And if you don't build that strong foundation now, you find it very difficult to understand what is going on in the clinical years. And it might even waste your time because even me personally now, I've had to go back to some things they taught me in preclinical years just to try and understand what is going on right now in clinical years. So please, I know the preclinical years is temporary, it's just 2 years before you know you are done. But please make sure those things you learn, keep them with you. And even the discipline and resilience, you will need it later on. So if you're in your preclinical years or you're about to start your preclinical years, there are periods where you feel overwhelmed. There are periods where you will not even understand what is going on. There are periods where you feel very uncertain. It's normal. Those feelings will come and go. I've been there before, and right now I'm able to look back at those years and actually see that it was just a period of getting to know myself, period of getting to work on my discipline, resilience, self-awareness, and a lot of other things. So no matter what you're going through right now, I'm sending you support and hugs because I've been there and now I'm done with it. So you would also, in some few months or years, you'll be in my position now and you'll be able to look back at those. If this video resonated with you, please drop a comment in the comment section. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear how your journey is going. Also, please share this video with aspiring medical students, preclinical students, and people about to enter their preclinical years. Also, please, very important, very to subscribe. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.